Welcome to another episode of Around the Table with Powerful Women. I'm Joy Caffrey.
I'm Christi Daniels.
And I'm Wendy Love Edge.
And I'm today going to induce... Actually, I'm going to go with this because induce... No, I'm not going to start again. Because inducing relates to labor, which relates to some of what Maria used to do as a midwife. Maybe not induce.
Yeah, I try not to induce.
I'm still going to go with the flow. I'm going to just go with it today. But I'm so excited to introduce you because I've known you, I think I figured out for about 18 years. Mm-hmm. And I've just watched your growth professionally. So I first knew Maria as a massage therapist. And then I met her as she was in midwifery school because I taught an energy medicine class to the midwifery school. And that kind of forged our camaraderie over the years of really bonding. And so I watched your midwifery career and even going to your home and where you did the work where you met with your clients. And then I even went to her retirement party, which was so beautiful. In that retirement party for her midwifery work, there was babies all the way up to teenagers. And it was just so beautiful how much the community appreciated you and how you were there to witness these lives coming into the world. And then I'm going to say one more thing. So when at Maria's studio, at her home where she does her work, she also has an apothecary. And she has slowly over time moved into doing more and more apothecary work and to now having an apothecary wisdom teaching, which is what you're moving towards. And what I want to share is there is a photo on the wall in Maria's office of an old apothecary of herbs on this wall with wooden shelves. And she has created her version of it. And it's been so beautiful for me to watch her take her dream and make it come alive. And the other beautiful thing, I'll stop in a minute, is just watching you create these herbal products and now seeing them sold locally in the stores and sold online. So I'll pause there and let you jump in.
Okay, because there's another thing I want to jump in. Another thing that you really were pivotal with in the office. Do you remember in the back room we set up a tent?
Oh yeah.
And you helped me set up the red tent.
That's right.
And it felt like prior to your work with doing it with you, I would put it up and take it down, put it up and take it down, put it up and take it down. But then when we put it up, it felt like really substantial. Like we were building an institution, a safe space, a temple.
Yeah.
We were building a temple, and then we had multiple red tents. You and I taught a workshop in there
on sensuality and sexuality.
Yeah, and then I had multiple ceremonies in there, and that brought up my today when I was teaching about apothecary wisdom. That red tent came into conversation, and then also the manifestation of the apothecary that you also just mentioned. That's been another episode of apothecary wisdom about manifestation, and so you have been one of my pivotal teachers. I find myself multiple times like sharing something and being like, where did I learn that? Oh, I got that from Joy.
Yeah, that's right. We've known each other a long time.
Right.
And I know that let's talk about like the season right now of winter and how the work that you do in your Wise Ways works relates to some of the seasons and how that relates herbally to what's happening in women's lives. Yeah.
Well, we're entering into the solstice, the winter solstice, and the end of the year, and apparently the end of the decade, And so today on Apothecary Wisdom, we talked about this. The solstice is like the darkest, most yin time of the year, right? And nature's asking you to set things aside and go inward and self-reflect, reflect like on who we are, where we've been, who we're becoming, and to also like take inventory of our lives. And it's time to like clear out space and clean up things. And so just personally in my own life, I've been like cleaning out my midwifery office to make space for this new chapter. And what that really means is it means finding lost aspects of myself and bringing and going. I have this chest that was in the red tent, and inside the chest it's dark like the deepest night of the solstice. And then but inside there I found this prism. I'm going to make this will all make sense in a second. This was something that was really special to me a long time ago, but I put it away, right, in a dark place. In this prism's ability is to refract light, but it can't do what its ability is intended to do when it's put in the wrong spot, right? It's not in alignment. And so by opening up the chest and going into that deep, dark, kind of dusty, dirty place, that's a symbol for us as in our lives, right? For our emotions and our feelings and then uncovering and rediscovering this prism, like that, just by opening it up and bringing it, activates it, right? And then realizing, oh, you shouldn't be in the dark, you need to be in the light, and then putting it in the light, and then letting the light shine through it, then that like amplifies it, and then you look and then there's a mirror, and so then it reflects it, and so it multiplies it. And so that's what the solstice is asking us to do, is to go into the dark place, rediscover your lost abilities, activate them, shine and put them in the light, amplify and multiply, and then share them with everyone. And so that's a simple metaphor for something that just happened 2 days ago in my life, but it really makes a lot of sense. And so when you're asking about herbs for the solstice and who we are as women, this talk that I just did today, what isn't so much about herbs, but it's more about regathering our lost selves, claiming and like recognizing our ancestry and our wisdom lineages. And you're part of that wisdom lineage, right? And so, and then that's who we're becoming. We're
remembering who we are,
right,
as we unfold into the fullness as we move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this time of the year is really special because it just requires you to presence yourself in a way of like clearing out, remembering who you are, being a lineage holder, and to also like celebrate your wins, all your victories. Like, look at you. You have an awesome show.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You have an awesome show and healing practice, and I don't know you, but I know you've got beautiful wins there. You wouldn't be sitting at this table, right? And so to like celebrate that, and like lift each other up and celebrate that, and then also to take a moment to like reflect on some of those like mistakes or those things that you've done. And you're like, oh my, what have I just done? And that sinking feeling, right? And that residue, and allowing that residue to like be in your body, feel it, and then go into the earth. And so then it becomes the mulch for the compost, the mulch for this next chapter of our lives, who we're being. And I just can tell you, who we're being is not perfect.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely not perfect, but beautiful anyway.
Yeah, we're being beautiful.
And so it sounds like you're suggesting that people women become in tune with the cycles and the seasons, and it helps you to understand yourself a little more.
Absolutely, and it helps you connect. So I did another Apothecary Wisdom about this. Women are forces of nature.
Ooh, I like that. Yes,
we're
we
forces of nature, and we have lots and lots of cycles. We have just our life cycle. We have our fertility cycle, from going from a young person with no menstruation, and then through your first menstruation, through menstruation, and then through pregnancy, and then through postpartum, and then through perimenopause and menopause. And there's multiple cycles that reflect the cycles of the moon, the planets, the seasons, the cosmos. And then I feel like it really helps us when we get a little lost and a little overwhelmed and a little just confused, that not only are we something special is happening inside our body, but that we're all connected, but then we're connected to something bigger. We have a place. And then plants are always your allies, and so in every season there's going to be a different ally that pops up that's going to be really helpful. And so like what I talked about today is a plant that I think would be really helpful, or the tea that I'm drinking this time of year is, I call it immune tea. Well,
I just bought some of your immune tea.
Oh, good.
At the co-op.
Okay. Well, see, here's the reason.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why I think it's so helpful is because I didn't really talk about this so much, but we are the descendants of our foremothers, right? And then you've done a lot of, they have this calculation of figuring it out, like from the dawn of humanity to the lifespan, that we all have had approximately like 2,300 mothers.
Wow.
So your mother and her mother and her mother and her mother. That's 200, 300 mothers, right? And you can imagine being in a room with that many people, right? And we're the product of their decisions. And we could spend a whole lot of conversations about our choices and decisions in life right now. But what I'm trying to say is chamomile is an herb that's in immune tea. And when you think of chamomile, I always think of her as the grandmother. She's the wise one, the comfortable one. She's going to help relax you and help take away your pain and comfort you and warm you. But she's also a little bitter. So it's a little dose of medicine. Like, no, you don't get... Like Peter Rabbit, when he got in trouble, he had to drink chamomile tea and go to bed, right? A little bit bitter, and now you got to go to bed. But it's really medicinal. And it helps... And when you're doing... If you're going to do work, like we were just talking about, going into the dark places and discovering your abilities and putting them in the light, that brings up a lot of emotion, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of energy. That you need support when you're doing that. So chamomile tea is perfect for that. And then also immune tea is blended with elderberry and echinacea. So they're really good for your immune system. And like right now, it's cold and flu season and it's cold. And so you need to support your immune system also. So if I were to have a tea blend right now, it would be that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect.
So could you take that a little bit further, because we'll be, this will air within a month, but somebody could be going back, and it could be springtime, or summer, or fall. Like, do you have different plants and allies you would recommend for each season?
That's a great question. So
I love calling them allies.
Yeah, they're definitely allies. That's a whole topic in and of itself, is finding your plant ally. That's an important thing. Finding your plant ally, and I would love to talk to you about that, but I want to answer your question. So think of it in the spring. The spring, you want to detoxify yourself. You've had this winter, you've been inside, we've all put on a little weight, we've all kind of had the comfort foods, we needed to keep warm.
The windows have been all closed.
Yeah, so we haven't,
the air isn't as clean as the summertime.
Right, and wood smoke, and just the whole thing, maybe. And so we want to cleanse our body. So at that time, you want like cleansing but nourishing herbs. So things like dandelion and nettle, things like really nourishing herbs. Cleavers, they're really fun and cleaning. They're detoxifying. I have a blend called Women's Balance. I tend to talk about it a lot in the spring because it's green and it gives you a lot of energy. And so, so you want to cleanse yourself and get the momentum, build your momentum and build your energy. And then in the summer, that's like St. John's wort, bright, colorful plants, calendula, and then you want a lot of like first aid type of things like comfrey and yarrow, because you might scrape your leg or you might get a bug bite. You're outside, you're playing, and then you're being really fun and you have more energy. So you don't need to focus so much on your immune system. You get your immune system from the sun, from the vitamin D. Yeah. So you're just going to gather that sort of energy. And then when you start to go into the fall, I would go back to those nourishing herbs, the red raspberry leaf, the oat straw, the alfalfa, not because you're trying to cleanse, but now so many of us are deeply fatigued and we're depleted. Why are we depleted? There's a gazillion reasons why we're depleted. That's a whole episode in itself. But we're depleted, and so and then if we're already feeling tired in the fall and we're about to go into the winter where there is no light and no green things growing, or limited green things, the winter is the time to stock up, right? Build, strengthen, fortify. So the fall is the time to do that. So I would go back to my nourishing herbs, and I would also really start to bring in adaptogenic herbs, like I came to your show and talked about. And so adaptogenic herbs are going to be great for giving you stamina and energy.
Can you define that for us?
Adaptogenic herbs are herbs that they have a non-specific response in your body. So, for example, if you had a fever and you drank yarrow would influence and affect the fever. If you're tense and overwhelmed and you drink chamomile, you'll feel relaxed. If you drink adaptogenic herbs, in the moment you might not feel anything different, right? But what it's doing, they harmonize your system. Plants have this amazing, I'm going to use the word intelligence. They are an intelligent.
Yeah, I think so, actually.
And they're intelligent, and they go into your body and they do what they're supposed to do, what you need. It may not be what you want. Like you might be like, I'm so exhausted. I want more energy. And you drink adaptogens and then you go lay down and take a nap. You wanted more energy, but
you needed rest.
You get it from the rest, maybe.
It came from the rest.
And the plant knew that.
Right.
I love that.
Right. So adaptogens, I would really start to bring those adaptogens in the fall, and then starting to come back into the winter. Here we are in the winter, and then it's stressful time. We have a lot of artificial stress because holidays and travel. It's the cold and flu season, and so it's all about boosting and fortifying your immune system. So you got echinacea, you've got yarrow, and then I make all these things like ear oils and respiratory support. And so you've got elderberry and thyme and Oregon grapefruit. All of those are really good for fortifying and strengthening your immune system. And then you just cycle back through.
I like hearing about your cycle. I've been commissioned to paint 4 paintings on the seasons.
Oh, okay.
And so I think I will tap back into this conversation and like draw some of that energy as I go through and paint the seasons. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to back up a little because I love all the discussion about the herbs and the seasons, but I was thinking as you were talking and how Joy introduced you, how adaptable you are, and how you've gone through these different incarnations of what you want to give to the world for healing work and educate yourself in different ways. It's very, very cool, and I bet it kind of has built on each other too.
Absolutely. Yeah, so of course the massage therapist that wants to touch the world, that wants to help soothe the pain, then that gives strength and development and discovery to then being at the door of life and supporting women as they're going through a transformation and helping them give birth safely and helping them feel confident in that transformation. And herbs have always been a part of it. Herbs have always been there. And then now that I'm not actively attending births, my identity is changing so much. And so when we've all been through identity changes, and so you're like, oh, who am I? Where am I going? I need help. And so then the herbs just come oh, come here, drink me, bathe in me, put me on your body, eat me, put me in your hair. Let me be, I will be everywhere with you. Let me hold you. And you're like, okay. I think maybe I should share about this with other people because it's pretty amazing.
Yes, absolutely. But all of those skills work together, and you just described it so beautifully.
Well, the new thing I'm kind of into, it's not really new, but it goes into the next thing, is with a Qigong practice and a Tai Chi practice. Specifically Qigong, because that seems to be what people are catching on to here right now. It's holding that safe space and holding a container for them to have their transformative experience. And you're still being a guide, and you're still directing, but I'm not necessarily touching them. But the nice thing about Qigong as opposed to Tai Chi, which I really love Tai Chi, is I don't correct them either. In Tai Chi, I would be like, fix your stance, stand up straighter, tuck your elbow.
So
I focus.
true.
Where are you at? Like, did you not practice? You need to remember. Like, you don't waste my time. Whereas in Qigong, you just have this experience.
The flow, right?
Yeah, you flow.
It's interesting that you say that because I took some Tai Chi, it was several years ago, and as a kind of a trauma survivor and someone who wants to be perfect, it was really difficult for me because constant correction, and then if I didn't have time to practice too, then it was worse, So for me, it wasn't really a healing experience because my life experiences and personality just didn't jive with it. Oh, I'm going there to be corrected, That's kind of how it felt, right? So I love the idea that Qigong is more of a flow. And
it's like...
Is it more of a yin energy?
Well, it's not, it's a both. It's both yin and yang energy. The difference is Tai Chi essentially comes from a lineage, right? There is a village, in the Chen village in China, and those people have been practicing that form they think they're the oldest ones, so maybe they are. Maybe Wudang Mountain's the oldest. I'm not sure. They argue about that. But the point is, they've been practicing that for thousands of years.
And if you're going to do it, you better.
And if you're going to say you do Chen style, then you're going to do Chen style.
Yeah.
Now, Qigong, the number of people in the room is the number of variations there are. Right? So you're going to open your chest, someone's going to open it up here, someone's going to open it down here, someone's going to open it up here. That's all right. As long as you're able to, there's like principles. There are principles, and once you can master the principles, the healing process is going to be exponential. The transformation is going to be exponential. So you do kind of want to get the foundations.
What are some of those principles?
Breath, your breath, thinking of your breath as a strategy. How to pull your breath in, like we do these things called reverse abdominal breathing versus abdominal breathing. How to like send the energy from your dantian, from your belly, out through your hands, in through your hands, down into your dantian, in from your soles of your feet, up to your belly.
I feel that as you're saying.
Yeah, down into, you can just like, if you can start to direct and guide and control it, then you can send it. Oh, I have a pain here. Then you can send the chi there. You can maybe distance send it. So you can, the point of Qigong is you're trying to amplify it, refine it, make it better, like make it a better quality, and direct it and improve its circulation. So those are, but once you have that idea of, oh, that's what I'm trying to do, then you're not just moving your arms, you're like moving and opening your chest and your heart. It's a different movement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it when I do this. When I do this versus
my life, right?
Yeah, you can feel your feeler. Yeah.
It sounds like Qigong too for women who are practicing or trying to be independent and take care of themselves. Like this is a good tool to have in the toolbox.
Absolutely. I think it's like right now it's my primary, the herbs and the Qigong is my primary tool because you don't need any equipment. You don't need a lot of space. You don't even really need to remember the movements. You go inward, and it's a beautiful practice because you're not putting your mind on something. You're putting your mind in something. You put your mind in something, and then you open it up, and then you just start to follow the flow, and then it takes you from this mental thinking place of trying to remember, trying to calm down, or trying to do whatever you're trying to do, to put you fully embodying and following, and you listen and you follow. It's really beautiful.
You've spent a lot of years from massage to midwifery to the apothecary and wise ways. Is there a thread that you see that carries through that is like that you uniquely bring to all of these different things that you've done?
A thread that I carry through. Well, myself. I bring myself, my Maria-isms. I bring, the thread is connection, connection to nature, connection to forces that are far greater and bigger than me, and then connecting, having personal experiences, and then sharing from those experiences.
Yeah.
I would think that.
I think the most important thing you can bring to any practice is yourself, and all your experiences come with you, to whomever you're trying to heal or help or educate, So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and listening to you talk, I'm not sure if this hits or not, but it seems like there's this honoring of life force energy that is like a thread that shows up with the massage. Also with working with women in different transformations, trying to birth new life into the world. Also, working with energy and life force energy and empowering people to do that for themselves. Working with plant allies and how that can adjust and adapt life force energy.
And feeling the life force energy within the plants themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I would agree that that's honoring and like reverence,
So on the subject of empowerment, if there are women listening,
that's what I want to ask you.
Well, did you want to?
No. Go ahead. Run with it. That's my...
Yeah. So I don't know if you came here feeling empowered because you come across as a very empowered woman, or if it was something that you learned through this journey, through all these different changes and different so-called careers, I guess we could call them, experiences.
I would say I ebb and flow. When I was young, I felt really empowered. I lived outside, really connected to nature, swam in the creek, walked around in the woods by myself. When I was a kid, I felt really comfortable. And then I moved when I was 15. This will be really short. I moved when I was 15 and I learned about poverty and racism and bullies and all kind of things. And I became a victim and I was scared and I was definitely crumbling on every level until and then I got beat up really bad. That was the last time I got beat up really bad. And then I was about to I didn't know what I was about to do, but it was not going to be good. And then I met this girl and she's like, girl, you need to go to martial arts. You need to start practicing karate. And so I started training in martial arts when I was in my 20s. And that was actually, even though it was a very intense school in terms of not like my martial arts training now, but it was pretty physical. I used to get kind of beat up a lot there, but it was so good. I was like, all right, I can take this. I can do this. I can dish it. I can receive it. All right. That martial art experience gave me enough strength within myself to figure out how to take a hike. I hiked for 200 miles with the intent I will not return home until I know for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, what I'm going to commit to. Then that hike, on that hike, it was like, you're going to be a midwife. Okay, I'm a midwife.
I remember that story.
Right.
You telling me the story when you knew that moment.
Yeah, and then from that hike, it gave me enough courage to then go to Central America. When I went and traveled Central America by myself, I was there for 3 years, but I ebbed and flowed between empowerment and victim because Central America was intense, and I would fall into the victim, and then I would get empowered, and I'd fall into the victim, and then get empowered. And then finally, I left there a little bit... I guess I came out surviving, out alive, and then that gave me enough courage to go to midwifery school. And then when I went to midwifery school, and then I did all that stuff, and then I stopped being a midwife, attending births, and actually this last year, I was in one of the most recent times where I was back to the not feeling worthy and not feeling who am I, what am I doing, I'm not good enough, I don't have any value. I lost my skill. I've already achieved all my greatness. Oh my gosh. I have gray hair. What happened? Who am I? And then just this last year in doing this work, going to those deep, dark places, clearing out, rediscovering, being real, it's helping me just now. I feel like I'm just now coming back into a place of okay, I can show up.
Yeah.
I can be here.
It's so interesting that so much of our worth we seem to attach to an identity of a role
of what we're doing right
that
now.
gets played rather than just the virtue of just being a human.
You're innately worth.
Right. That's what I talked about today too, is just how much of our performance. Yeah.
And our society is so based in performance and money and all of these things that then I think women in particular, maybe everyone, but attach their worth to those things when, like Joy said, you come here worthy. It's learning, and it sounds like you started your life knowing that. And were your parents encouraging? And
they must have been.
Yeah.
I don't remember my mom being you're so worthy, but yeah, my mom was just allowed me to be me.
Yeah,
that's so important.
That's beautiful, right?
Yes.
Itself is beautiful.
And rarely happens, honestly. I had the same experience. I had a mother who just adored me for who I was, and it separated from anything I was achieving. So despite other issues in my life, that was key, and is still key even now. And I say that I can tell when I meet someone, if they had a mother who accepted them for who they were. You can tell by how they carry themselves, how they conduct themselves. I don't know if you've had that experience.
Yeah, I'm going to start to look for that.
Yeah.
Start to see if I can pick that up.
We're coming towards the end of about 30 minutes, so how can people get in touch with you and, tell us that.
Sure. So if you want to learn more about Apothecary Wisdom, then you can find us on YouTube. So it's under Birthsong Botanicals because that's our herbal business. And so when you go on YouTube, you go to Birth Song Botanicals.
I want to say that slower for people because I know it.
And we will include
links. So it's Birth Song Botanicals. You can find that on YouTube. You can find it on SoundCloud, or you can find it on our website, birthsongbotanicals.com. And if you're interested in Tai Chi or Qigong practices, I have another website. It's called Path with Harmony. And that's brand new. I'm just now putting my website together. I've been teaching for a little while, but Path with Harmony, and there you'll find all the class schedules and what to expect from a class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Maria and I are going to do some type of
let's do it.
collaboration together with Life Force Energy.
Life Force Energy.
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I think it'll be great.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me.
It's been great.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick up our cups.
Okay.
All right.
Here's to a soulful, joyful, and edgy life. Thank you.